Much, Presiding Officer. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to participate in this debate. It's a very interesting debate, and I've enjoyed listening to contributions from all sides. Some interesting, some provocative, some just confirming what I already suspected. But I want to sort of pick up on a few things that Murdo Fraser initially said. And now, setting aside some of the other issues, he did identify a couple of things I want to hone in on. He mentioned city deals. And I absolutely agree with him. I think City Deals is a fantastic initiative, and certainly as a MSP for Renfrewshire and East Renfrewshire, both Renfrewshire and East Renfrewshire are benefiting substantially from the Glasgow City and Clyde Valley deal. Now, and this is something that the Scottish Government has put £500 million into, and I think that's to be welcomed and it should be recognised. This is actually making a fundamental difference within East Renfrewshire. Over £40 million of investment. We've seen from that the Crossmill Business Centre, a new road network between Barrhead, Newton Mearns and the M77, and a new railway station near Auchenbach. All of this has been delivered by having the SNP in administration in East Renfrewshire Council, and my colleague, Councillor Tony Buchanan, who's the convener for infrastructure and growth, has been doing a fantastic job. One of the most exciting developments is going to be the Dams to Darnley Country Park. There's going to be a visitor centre, and there's also going to be a wakeboard park. Now, I don't know how many people are aware of what wakeboarding is. To the untrained eye, it's essentially standing on a surfboard and being pulled by a motorboat or a pulley behind up to speeds of 25 to 30 miles an hour. You perform various tricks, and that's how you demonstrate your capability. Now, given that this is in East Renfrewshire, and there are 2 MSPs for East Renfrewshire in this chamber, I'm going to challenge Jackson Carlaw today that when that water park opens, he will meet me on the reservoir.
Jackson Carlaw.
I'm very grateful to Mr Arthur giving way. I mean, it is true that the SNP are 2 or 3 of the minority figures in what is otherwise a failing Labour administration in East Renfrewshire. But will he also acknowledge that millions of pounds have been wasted in East Renfrewshire by this administration, particularly over the Cowan Park development, where the council pursued policies which led to over £5 million being added to the cost of the Barrhead High School he's talking about, and some estimate potentially as much as £25 million. East Renfrewshire will do very well to be shot at Mr Arthur's party on May the 4th.
Tom Arthur, it's hardly an appropriate intervention for this debate, but if you wish to respond, Mr Arthur, you have no Mr Arthur, you have no extra time if you wish to respond.
I will simply acknowledge that the key figures in that administration are the SNP figures who have been delivering for Barrhead and all of East Renfrewshire and will continue to do so after 4th of May. Now, there was another issue in Murdo Fraser did a serious issue, and that is on the issue of exports and internationalisation. Now, I find it bizarre that he would say this in the Chamber because this government has invested in hubs in Dublin, London and Brussels, and including new permanent trade representation in Berlin. Now, I would think that any efforts made by the Scottish Government to increase the internationalisation of our economy would be welcomed. And just a couple of weeks ago, when the First Minister visited the US, announcing fresh investment that will support and create jobs, what was the Tory response? Get on with the day job. Now, clearly, I hadn't realised that what the Tories meant by internationalisation was Empire 2.0, but I'm very sorry to disappoint. This Parliament doesn't have the power to reconstitute the East India Company or compel China to buy opium or whatever other deluded Brexit-fueled nostalgic nonsense that you want to go and foist upon us. Now, specifically, one more issue I want to highlight. I'm sorry, I'm pushed for time, otherwise I would. Very briefly.
Jackie Bailey.
As a point of history, it was indeed the Scots that led the opium trade with China.
Yes,
Tom Arthur.
It's a very valid point, and I appreciate that intervention. Now, specifically on the issue, no, I recognise it. It's not something I support now, unlike this lot, but never mind. In terms of productivity, which is a very important issue, we've seen productivity growing at 4 times the rate of the rest of the UK, and that's a highly important issue, and it's something I know other members take an interest in, because with the onset of automation and AI and robotics, this is going to become an increasing challenge for us. Productivity is going to be a driver, it's going to be a key issue, it's going to be a key metric, more of a key metric than perhaps it is at the moment. And I think we have to think about that and give it far more cognizance and consideration in our debates about the economic performance of Scotland when we do. I appreciate it's an inconvenient fact for the Conservatives, but I think it's one that rightfully should be highlighted. With the very little time I've got left, I just want to this issue of Scotland being the highest tax part of the UK. This is categorically untrue. Taken in totality, Scotland is not the highest tax part of the UK. But what I find very disconcerting is the Conservatives present this argument and they state that higher taxes would undermine consumer confidence and business confidence. Why is it, when they believe this to be the case, but they know it not to be the case that Scotland is the highest tax part of the UK, do they continue to propagate frankly, this misinformation of tenuous veracity? I think they should be ashamed of that and take some responsibility.